welcome in. Episode 7 of BBL Sports Talk. Just got me and Jet today. Our boy Starkey is getting married this weekend. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Stark. Tying the knot. Going Modelo's again this week. 2 of them. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
First order of business tonight. We got to shout out third host of BBL. He can't be here tonight because he's got a really important weekend. Mr. Spencer Stark tying the knot to his high school sweetheart. So, cheers, Starkey, as you're watching this back. Cheers to you. To a great weekend.
Cheers.
And to you as well, Kennedy. You got something in that blue Powerade?
Raspberry Smirnoff.
Yeah. Raspberry Smirnoff classic. All right. Well, I'm excited to get into it. A lot of news we can talk about this week. Week 1 of the preseason is in the books. A lot to talk about there. When we met last week and did episode 6, we were so excited for the Lions game. Hendon Hooker had to watch that painful first half of the Lions-Giants. Nate Sudfeld, I just want to make a note. Dude, I like the guy. He's a nice guy, but he can't play quarterback in the NFL. It is the worst watch of all time. Finally get excited to see Hendon Hooker take the field in the second half. And electric run. But it's the preseason. We're teaching QBs to slide now. And he says, I'm going to stick this linebacker. And he did. I mean, he dropped the linebacker, lowered the shoulder, dropped the linebacker.
He did.
But then he leaves the game with a concussion, and we don't know when we're going to be able to see him again. So, but I guess give me your take a little bit on start with Hendon and kind of thoughts on the 2 drives we got to see Hendon on the field, and then what else did you gather from that Lions preseason game?
Yeah, super excited for him. I think that he looks great. I mean, throws a beautiful ball. Gritty, lowering the shoulder there. I don't want that in preseason, but I mean, shows a little grit. I'm so worried for when we get rid of Goff. I mean, we have him. Obviously, we secured him, but I just we've been through hell with quarterbacks up until Stafford, and like that next phase is always scary. I hate to be thinking far ahead. I want to live in the moment as a Lions fan right now, which everyone out there who's listening, live in the moment, cherish this. It's not often we get to be talked about as like a top 4 Super Bowl favorite.
First time in our life.
But yeah,
first time in our lives we get to talk like that.
Yeah, first. But no, it's super exciting. I thought he looked good, and him being our backup is, I mean, I'll say it right now, top 3 backup in the league.
I don't think
behind
that's a
Kirk
hot
Cousins take. And behind Kirk Cousins and maybe Zach Wilson.
That's another thing we're going to get to in a second, by the way, is Kirk Cousins and what they got going on in Atlanta. But no, I mean, I think it's such a small sample size, 2 drives. But on both of those drives, like, all game, couldn't move the ball. And then Hendon gets in there, and just his legs and his athleticism, that's something that, I mean, I can't think. When is the last time the Lions have had somebody under center who can run the ball, who can scramble and make plays happen, make something out of nothing? I mean, it has been a very long time since we've had an athlete under center. And
I don't want to sell Frat.
Go ahead.
I do not want to sell Matt Stafford short. He did put his body on the line a couple times for those first downs.
Yeah.
But he was not mobile.
Yeah, like I don't think people look at Stafford as a mobile QB, and it was refreshing to see. I mean, there was like in that first half, pocket collapses, and what's Sudfeld going to do? He's going to throw the ball away, or he's going to go down. And there were a couple
Yeah.
plays there. I mean, there was a couple third downs there where they're in trouble, and Hendon finds a way to get out of the pocket, uses athleticism, and in the rain, I was impressed with the way he was able to throw the ball too. So I agree with you. I mean, I think I would really like to see the Lions maybe bring in another QB, a veteran guy. I know I've seen it thrown out there. Tannehill is still on the market. I don't think you bring Tannehill in. I think if you're Tannehill too, Tannehill's probably already put a call into the Vikings.
Did you see who
Potential
they just signed?
the Vikings,
No, the Lions.
the Lions. Who did the Lions just sign? Are you breaking news to me right now?
Jake. I am breaking news to you. Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm.
For
That moves the needle.
yes.
We're
Yeah,
a Super Bowl.
yeah.
We're the Super Bowl favorites now. Jake Fromm. All right, I like
Yeah,
that.
I
Let's
mean,
get some. Let's get some other bodies in that QB room because
I think yeah, they took the opposite thought process on what me and you were both thinking. I would like another veteran in there, maybe
yeah,
somebody to help out with Hendon because you can't expect Goff to take him under his wing. He's got to worry about a Super Bowl. But yeah, we get
absolutely.
somebody in there like Tannehill. Maybe we outbid Amazon for Fitzpatrick. Get some Fitzmagic in Detroit. Let's add another notch to the belt.
You talk about a Campbell guy, a Dan Campbell guy, Ryan Fitzpatrick. That is a great fit. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. And no, I mean, I think again, I feel really confident in Hendon being the number two. God forbid something happens to Goff. Are the Lions a Super Bowl team with Hendon? Probably not. Small sample size, 2 drives, but I was really impressed from what we saw. And the one thing I'll say too, I mean, Campbell's been talking like it's going to be a quick turnaround. Like Hendon's going to be healthy and ready to go again soon. Like he was in concussion protocol, but I think there's a chance we see him this weekend. The last press conference I heard from Campbell, but I just know it's preseason and they tend to lean on the safe side. One other injury that I don't think is a huge deal. It doesn't seem like it was as big of a deal as it was initially reported, but Gibbs goes down with a hamstring in practice. My heart stopped for a second when I read that, but did you see that, and how worried were you when you read that news?
I mean, I hate this. I wasn't super worried. I felt awful because I want to watch him play, but having Montgomery also in our running back room is like we have another starting running back, which is so nice. But obviously Gibbs is, the man. I want to see Gibbs run the ball in the end zone all season and tear it up like he did last year. But having Montgomery as that safety net is nice. But yeah, I definitely when I first heard the news, I was like, God bless it. I do not need the injury bug to strike the Lions because we did talk. That's going to be the only thing to hold us back this year is if we get struck by the injury bug.
Absolutely, and we've had a lot of luck. Like last year, we got really lucky, dodged it. No, like major players going down for a long period of time. Obviously, had some holes in that defense with injuries, but none of the pillars went down last year. So no, I read they'll hold him out. He's not going to play in the preseason, and they're going to take it really slow. But it's just a tweak of the hamstring. He should be good to go week 1. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, awesome safety blanket having Montgomery. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Gibbs is probably RB1 going into this season. I know last year he was more RB2, but just the thunder lightning that they bring out of the backfield, like they complement each other so well. So we need both of them healthy all season, please. Praying for that.
Yes.
Would you take Gibbs in the first round of fantasy this year?
So I did last year.
First round.
Without knowing what he was going to be. Yeah. I had the last pick. And so I mean you could have called it first or second round. But yeah, I just wanted him. I wanted him bad. I don't know if I would this year because I thought he was going to get more of like a, you know, gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name, but like a every single down back is what I thought he was going to be. Just a workhorse. And then I saw Monty getting, 60 to 70% of the snaps in the beginning of the season. And I'm like, what the hell did I just do? And then the end of the year, Gibbs was who I thought he was going to be. So that was nice. But I mean, it's always nice to have a Lion on your team. Daily fantasy sucks just because I end up rooting for players that maybe I don't want to. So I try and always will draft somebody that I actually want to root for now. So yeah, I would definitely take Gibson first round.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And well, all right, let's switch gears off the Lions a little bit. Talk some more NFL news. So just kind of, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of some news that broke today or in the last couple days. So first and foremost, this just broke a couple hours ago. But Matthew Judon, the edge from New England, traded to Atlanta for a third-round pick. I know that's a guy that has been, he's in Atlanta, traded for a third-round pick. It's a guy whose name has been thrown out a lot throughout the offseason as a potential piece that the Lions could trade for. Me personally, I'll give my take first. I mean, I think it's a great trade for Atlanta. If I was Detroit, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have given up a third for Judon. So I think the asking price was a little high, which is why Holmes probably didn't move on that. But yeah, I mean, top tier pass rusher in Atlanta, something that they're missing. So that's a big get for the Falcons. Did I break that news to you?
Yes, I did not. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so that just recently happened today.
I think that Judon is an animal. Do you know where he played college football?
Boston College.
No. Grand Valley.
No way.
Get wet.
How did I not know that?
Yes.
How did I not know that? We were talking about Boston College before we started recording. That's why I threw that out.
That would have been so funny. But no, yeah, he could have came home to Michigan.
Damn, that's no. I like him a lot, and I think that's big time for Atlanta. They needed a pass rusher, so. But yeah, they gave up a third. I mean, that's a steep price to get him, but they gave up a third to get him. He'll be in Atlanta this season, and I think as far as like talking on the Lions, I'm comfortable where we're at with the depth on the defensive line. Made some signings in the offseason. We just need people to stay healthy, get healthy, and stay healthy. Is important for the Lions this season. Another piece of news. So this hasn't materialized, and who knows? We'll see if it does. But I've got the source on this. I've got to say is Antonio Brown and CTE ESPN. They don't miss. When AB reports something, it comes to fruition. He doesn't miss. And he is reporting Ayuk to the Steelers. And that's not just him reporting that. A lot of other people are reporting that it's close to being a done deal as well. But it looks, as of right now, like Brandon Ayuk is going to get traded to the Steelers playing Pittsburgh this year. Does that move the needle for you? Do you think that is a major upgrade for the Steelers?
Dude, I think the Steelers always have sweet wide receivers. So, I mean, that I don't know, seems kind of fitting for their wide receiver room, adding Ayuk. But one thing that is interesting to me is I don't know if you saw this. It came out that the Niners tried to trade Ayuk for Amari Cooper and like a third round pick. Did you see that?
I did see this report. Yes.
And then Ayuk has a no trade clause, so he declined it, I think. So he gets to pick where he wants to go. It just would shock me if he said no to Cleveland but would say yes to the Steelers. Like, I don't know. He doesn't want Deshaun Watson throwing him the ball. He wants Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. Or, he thinks, yeah. He thinks Pittsburgh's a better team because the other funny thing is if that's actually true, those reports are true, He's going to play Cleveland twice. And then if I'm the coaching staff, I'd be like, "What the hell?" I'm I'm sending some players at him.
That's insane. I saw that story, the Amari Cooper story. I didn't know that it was Ayuk that shut that down. By the way, he's still on his rookie deal, so there's no way he's got a no trade clause. But what I guess is he's going into a contract season, and maybe he didn't commit. He's like, no, I won't sign with the Browns. I don't want to go to the Browns. Maybe his
Yeah,
agent
that could make sense.
did some like behind the door work there, but yeah, that's bizarre because I feel like Cleveland and Pittsburgh are super similar situations, but Cleveland's probably got the better defense.
Definitely.
Look what Cleveland
I
did
think
last year
Cleveland's
with
in a
Joe
much better
Flacco.
spot.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is surprising, but I can't blame him. I hate Deshaun Watson. I would not want Deshaun Watson to throw me the ball either. He sucks. Lock it in right now to the listeners. Week 1, Deshaun Watson to throw an interception. I promise.
Ooh,
I promise.
wonder what the odds are on that.
I made so much money on Deshaun Watson interceptions last year. I just didn't even think about it. Bet it every Sunday, and he threw one damn near every game. Last year, fun story for you and the listeners. Last year, it was the first week of the doubleheader Monday night games, and I just you just wake up, you get a feeling about a bet, and I just had this feeling that, and I texted my friends and I said, Deshaun Watson is going to throw a pick six on the first series tonight. I'm betting Pittsburgh Steelers defense first touchdown score. Third snap of the game, pick six.
No way.
They're playing the Steelers. Yeah, I swear. You can go look it up. That Monday night game, like the third snap of the game, he throws a pick six. Cashed.
Oh,
It was like plus 3,300. It was a great cash. So.
that's awesome.
Oh man! All right, let's switch gears a little bit off of the NFL. Let's move to college football to take us home. We're gonna stay in the state of Michigan, and we're gonna talk some win totals for our hometown team. So Michigan State win total, and this has been you can shop around and find some different lines. I'm seeing it between 4.5, 5 games for the total wins this season for Michigan State. Let's go with 4.5. Jet, as a Spartan fan, what's your confidence level in Jonathan Smith and the boys this year? Are you taking the over or are you taking the under 4.5 wins this year?
I got to be honest to the listeners out there. We have talked about this prior, and I was a staunch under guy. And after review, I'm in a pickle. I think that we lose to Rutgers and Illinois and Maryland and possibly Boston College. Boston College on the road. I think we're going to be a touchdown underdog. And it really makes me want to say that we go under 4.5, which would be so devastating. And I hope that if it is an under 4.5, it's all because of our defense and that Childs looks amazing and he's Heisman candidate, first ever Heisman candidate with only 4 wins. That would be incredible. But yeah, I will say I'm up in the air on it, but it's under 4.5 for me.
Wow. Okay, I'm surprised by that because I'm the big Michigan fan of the pod. Jet's the Spartan of the pod, and we're on opposite sides of this. I'm taking the over, and this is one of my favorite bets of the preseason. I think if you go through State's schedule, I feel like this is so reminiscent of the 2021 season. Michigan State's win total was also set at 4.5 going into the 2021 season, and I took a look at it as a third party, as a Wolverine fan, and said, this seems like it's too easy. Like, I feel like I need to mortgage the over. And I got scared. I'm like, what does Vegas know that I don't know? But you just looked at the way the schedule lined up, and it seemed like it was too easy in 2021, so I didn't bet it. And they go on to win 11 games that season. I think they surpassed 4.5 wins week 6. They started the season 5-0, actually. Week 5.
They did.
They surpassed. So I I really love the over. I think if you go take a look at that schedule, they've got some really tough games in there, and there's some guaranteed losses in there. They got to go to Michigan. They play Ohio State. You can go ahead and chalk those up as
Real
L's.
quickly.
But yeah.
Real quickly. I just think that it would be great. I would love to hear your wins. I'm going to run through the schedule with you real quick, and you tell me
Let's run
win and
through.
loss. All right?
Yeah, let's run through it.
All right. At home versus Florida Atlantic,
Win.
1-0. Going to Maryland,
Win.
2-0. At home versus Prairie View A&M.
Tough game. Maybe a scare going in the fourth quarter, but a win.
Wow, 3-0. This would be a great start to the season. At Boston College.
Okay. I understand your worry here. Boston College, very noted, hostile environment, tough place to play. But, man, do they start the season 4-0? I'm going to give them a win there.
Okay. Now, arguably the hardest stretch of 4 games in college football this year. At home versus Ohio State,
L.
4-1. We're going out to Eugene to play the Ducks,
Another L.
4-2. Then we got Iowa at home, a little breather.
Okay. That game, that's a toss-up. That is a toss-up game. And you're getting them
And
at home.
also, mind you, after Oregon, we did have a bye week, so there's 2
you're coming
weeks
off of
in
a
between
bye.
Oregon.
Give
Yeah.
me a win. Give me a W for the Spartans at home against the Hawkeyes
Wow.
and Cadillac Cade.
Okay, so we're 5-2.
You're 5-2 right now. We've already hit.
Now it's house money. Then you go to Michigan,
L.
Ann Arbor, 5-3 versus Indiana at home,
W.
6-3. We go to Illinois.
L. That's classic trap game on the road. Feeling good about yourselves. L.
Yep, 6-4. Then we have Purdue at home.
Man, that's a tough one too. I'll give State the dub against the Boilers. They got the better quarterback in that
7.
game. They're at home.
Yep, 7, and then Rutgers at home.
L. So 7-5.
What
That's where I like State. I like State 6-6, 7-5 this year. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
taking
mean,
the
when you
over.
put
I'm
it the
telling
way you did, yeah. If we get a win versus Iowa, this is definitely an over. But I don't see that. I think it's going to be scary.
I think.
But we'll see.
Here's the way that I look at it. Yeah, and here's the way that I look at it is I've seen enough of Childs play. I mean, obviously he's Child's play. He's didn't play that much at Oregon State, but he got some series, here and there, and he came in, and you're gonna have a top 3 or 4 QB. You're gonna have the better QB on the field for the majority of your games, and I think that's gonna go a really long way for the Spartans this year. So I like them 6-6, 7-5. It's one of my favorite bets, futures of this college football season. So we're on different sides here. I like it. Now we're going to switch gears over to the Wolverines.
Myself.
Jetty fades. Jetty fades. All right. Let's switch gears over to the Wolverines. And what's so funny is a week ago, if we did this, the line was at 9.5. This line has since been bet down, and you can now get it at 8.5 games. And so we're going to go with where it's at today. Michigan, really tough schedule. And I shouldn't say really tough schedule. It's not that much more difficult than State's. But they host Texas week 2. They get Texas in the non-con. They do get Oregon at home, and then they got to go to Columbus at the end of the year. But 8.5 wins, obviously a lot of question marks. you sticking with the under on this? You gonna go 2 unders, or are you going on the over side, 8.5 for the Michigan Wolverines?
9.5 was an under. I think 8.5 is definitely an over. The only game that is like a worry, which they're double digit favorites in, is going out to Washington. It could be, I don't know, that could be like a trap game starting off if they start off the season well. Granted, they are playing Texas game 2, and
Yeah, and
if that
USC.
doesn't go well, yeah, I'm not as worried about USC, just because I don't know anyone on the team. It'd just be like me thinking about Lincoln Riley, which I don't do often. um, but no, I just think if the Texas game goes like really bad, I think that it could kind of derail their season. But I don't think it's going to. I think their defense is good enough to keep them in every game, and I think their defense is going to make any inferior opponent, if their offense isn't playing that well against them. I think their defense could score, in any game this season. So I definitely like the over at 8.5. 9.5, I think, is definitely a much better number. But yeah, no, over.
Yeah, I like that, and I agree with you. When I was looking at this at 9.5, I feel like 9.5 is the perfect number. Just the way that their schedule sets up. 8.5, I'm going to take the over on this as well. And I agree with you. I mean, there's a couple things here. I feel like
They
Michigan
could lose to
has
Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon, and still cash, which just blows
and
my mind.
still hit the over. Yeah, I agreed. And so I'm definitely going to take the over on this. I think they have the recipe. You talked about it, like with inferior teams. Like they have this recipe where their defense is going to be so good. They have so much talent on defense, and then their offensive recipe is going to be hand the ball off to Donovan Edwards and run the read option with Orgy and Donovan Edwards. And so when you go into these games against an Indiana, Northwestern, Michigan State, some of these inferior teams talent-wise, I don't think they stand a chance. If you can't move the ball on Michigan and they're going to run the ball down your throat, you're in for a long day. Now, they have to play Oregon, Texas, and Ohio State. In those games, you can't just rely on your defense and your run game to win. And so Alex Orji is going to have to make some plays through the air. Can he do that? We have no idea. And so, again, that's why when the number was at 9.5, I felt like it was perfect. I do think I expect, worst case scenario, them to finish the season 9-3. I think in a best case scenario, 10-2, maybe 11-1 if Orgy's actually that guy. I don't see a 12-0 season, but I think it's somewhere between 9-3, 10-2. So I'm gonna take the over on this as well. So you went over on the Wolverines and under on your Spartans tonight.
Just trying to fade myself. I do have a question though. At 10-2, does this mean that Ohio State gets their first victory in 4 years?
No. Michigan.
They're losing to Texas and Oregon. And
they'll lose to
State.
Texas and Oregon. They're beating Ohio State. Gosh, I can't wait. I obviously all year I get so excited for that game at the end of the season, but I can't wait for the game this year because Ohio State. It's so classic. Ohio State's got all this hype coming in the offseason, and they are loaded. They are absolutely loaded. For the listeners out there that don't know, Quinshon Judkins comes over from Ole Miss. He's a beast of a running back. Caleb Downs in the secondary. I feel like everyone's talking about the question marks about Michigan at quarterback. Why does Ohio State not have those same conversations and question marks? I mean, Will Howard, from K-State, transferred over. Seems like he's going to be the day one starter. I don't believe in that dude that much. He's not shown me much to make me really excited. You look at Texas and Oregon, Dylan Gabriel and Quinn Ewers are like bona fide superstars in college football. They're very good quarterbacks, which is why I think Michigan's going to have a tough time beating those teams. But Ohio State, I'm not too sure about their quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think Will Howard definitely has less of a question mark than Alex Orji.
I'll agree with
Seeing
that.
that he started for K-State. and he was good for K-State. I wouldn't say he was a superstar, but he was good for him. But I don't think that Ohio State needs a superstar quarterback. I think they need somebody who can make a play or two, and I think their offensive line is awesome, and he'll have time to throw the ball to the greatest receiver in college football right now, Abuka. So I mean, they will definitely be good. I mean, I think
Oh
that
yeah.
they will. I mean, them to make the college football playoff is a lock.
Oh, I agree with that. I think on betting odds they're like minus 700 to make the playoff, and I agree with that. They're a very good team. They're a very good team. They're not my pick to win the Big Ten. They've got to travel to Eugene. They get Michigan at home this year, but they have to go out to Eugene. And I think one thing that I wanna talk about is, you threw out that Washington game for Michigan being a trap game, and then obviously Ohio State's got to go out to Eugene. If you look statistically and historically, Big Ten teams having to go out to the West Coast never fare well. They never play well when they've got to travel out to the West Coast, and with the time change and the travel and for whatever reason. So that's going to be really interesting to watch this year. The Big Ten teams that got to go out to Oregon and Washington, USC, UCLA. That is going to be interesting to watch. Might be looking at some dogs in that game. Some home dogs out on the
I
West
like
Coast.
that.
That might be
Home
that might be
dogs.
bet of
Come
the
on.
week. All right, sticking on college football, and this season we got the new 12-team playoff, and I have to admit, we've talked about this before. I was not a fan when they initially made the change to the 12-team playoff. I wasn't happy about it, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm getting excited for it. The more and more I can't wait, and I think those round one games, a playoff game being hosted on a college campus, is just going to be unreal environment, and I cannot wait to see that. So I want you to give me, and I'll give you as well, two dark horse teams, and they don't have to be crazy long shot odds, but two teams that you see on the betting board that you really like their chances of making the college football playoff this year.
All right, I'm gonna give you a not so much dark horse and a pretty big dark horse. One, this is a little bit analytical. I'm not too sure how the committee's going to decide the 12 teams. Does every major conference, get a bid?
Yeah, so the way that it's going to work is that the four conference champions of what is now the Power Four, used to be Power Five, the four champions of the Power Four conferences will get those first four seeds. And they will be seeded 1 through 4, and they'll get the bye week. Then the highest ranked group of 5 team will get an auto bid, and then they will fill in the rest of the 7 spots with the college football playoff ranking system. So the next 7 highest ranked teams will get at-large bids into the playoff.
Gotcha. All right. So I think that this is just incredible value because I think that they win their conference. But give me Utah at plus 220. Odds on DraftKings
Dog.
Sportsbook.
You dog. That was one of my two I was bringing to the plate.
Was that one of yours?
Yeah,
No. Dude,
because I completely agree with you. They win the Big 12, and they get one of those automatic bids. I think they come in first season in the Big 12. I mean, I'm shocked, actually, at their odds being plus 220. I saw it the same as you, and I really like Utah. Cam Rising's back, and their coach is such a dog. I mean, he's going to have those boys ready to play.
100%. I mean, I think that I'm making this pick solely off of their coach and also Cam Rising. But I mean, I have a hard time seeing anyone else beat them. I mean, the veteran experience that Cam Rising will bring to that team. He's hasn't he been to 2 Rose Bowls? I think one of them he got knocked out of, but
yeah. When they played Ohio State, he was not in that. He got knocked out of that game, I believe, right? But no, here's okay. Question for you: the system and the style that Utah plays, and Kyle Whittingham is their coach's name. Absolutely love that guy. He's fantastic. I think he's a top 5 coach in college football. Maybe top 3, top 2 after Saban retired. But who in the Big 12 can line up in the trenches with Utah and play that style of football? Like, they're moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. Nobody plays defense in the Big 12. Like, who's going to compete with Utah in the trenches in the Big 12?
Oklahoma State, I think, is going to be their biggest competition. They have 2 great linebackers, and then Ollie Gordon, who might be one of the best running backs in college football. I think that they will be their only competition.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's probably your Big 12 championship game there. Who's your second team? Your second dark horse
And then
team?
there's always my second dark horse team. This is the true dark horse for all you D-gens out there. If you are a listener of the pod, you might know I said this earlier in the while we were recording in episode 1 or 2, but give me Wisconsin, the Badgers, Luke Fickell, going back to the college playoff, plus 1,100. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Tyler Van Dyke.
I think if they have a solid year in the Big Ten, their resume could be strong enough to. I don't think they actually win the Big Ten, but I think their resume could be strong enough to they get one of those 7 bids.
That is wild. I like it. I like it though. I mean, I would love for Wisconsin to be good this year. That would make things really interesting in the Big Ten. But plus 1,100 to make the college football playoff. That's crazy. It makes sense actually, but it's still crazy. I like that. All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm having to make a little adjustment on the fly here, and I don't even. You probably have the betting odds in front of you, so I need you to tell me what the odds are because I just came up with a long shot in my head. Okay, I just came up with. So I'll give you a long shot, and then I had 2 teams that I really like that I'm going to be betting. One of them being Utah, and then I've got another team. But we're going to go with my long shot first, and again, I just came up with this in my head, but. It's a Big Ten team. It's a team that doesn't move the ball well on offense, but always has a fantastic defense. Defense sometimes scores more points than the offense. And they just find ways to win games. And it's a team that's always around the top 10 in the college football playoff rankings due to their record. Not their strength of schedule. Not the flashy plays, but they just win football games. That is the Iowa Hawkeyes. Where are they at?
Plus 600.
Plus 600. All right, better odds than Wisconsin. So not as much of a long shot as I thought, but plus 600 will still take that. I think. Now I have looked at their schedule. It's not that crazy. A lot of winnable games on that schedule, and if they can find a way to put some points on the board, they're going to win a lot of football games this year. And that's one thing that I do think is silly in college football is a lot of the ranking system goes off a record, and it's been that way forever. And that's but it's also what makes college football so amazing. You can't lose a football game. Like every game is so important. So, but they stack some wins together. I could see the Hawkeyes slipping in. Geez, last year they're in the Big Ten championship game. Had no business being there, but they were in the Big Ten championship game without a quarterback. So that's my long shot. My team that I really like, and I found them. You can find them between plus 210, plus 220. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I cannot stand this program, this coach, this team. But the Miami Hurricanes, the U, they've got a pretty easy schedule this year, and they've got a lot of talent on this roster. And now they do open the season playing Florida, the Gators. I don't expect much out of the Gators this year. They're in a rebuild. They're struggling under Billy Napier, so I expect them to win that game. And then in the ACC, they don't play Clemson. in the regular season this year. They do play Florida State, but they don't play Clemson. The ACC is going to be very weak. I think we can see a 11-1, 10-2 Miami potentially sneaking into the college football playoff and potentially getting the automatic bid, winning the ACC.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So that was my two picks were the Utes and Miami, and two teams that I think have a really good chance of winning their weak conferences and getting that auto bid. And both of those teams are plus 210 to plus 220 range. So we're giving you these picks for free. Hop on FanDuel and take them, or DraftKings, whoever ends up sponsoring us. That's where you need to hop on and bet.
I have a question for you. How many teams out of the Big Ten make the college football playoff?
3.
Yeah, I think if the line were to be set, I think it would be, I think it would be 3.5.
I was just gonna say that if I had to set a line, I think it'd be 3.5. Yeah, yeah. Because so Oregon and Ohio State, you got to lock in.
I mean, Penn State's a favorite to make it. Yeah,
Penn State's
Oregon
minus,
and Ohio State are favorites to make it, and Penn State's minus money to go in too. So there's 3, and you're saying that Michigan might, couldn't sneak in?
Yeah, that is. Maybe it's 4. You might have just talked me into it being 4. Because I think Oregon, Ohio State are givens. They're going to be in. If Michigan can put it together on offense, which I think they'll be able to do, then there's your third team. And then does Penn State sneak in? And Penn State really isn't sneaking in. They've got a schedule that lines up pretty darn well for them to get in. Does Wisconsin sneak in? Does Iowa sneak in like we just talked about? Could we have a 6 Big Ten teams in the college football playoff? I'm not being serious.
There's a number like mathematically where it becomes I think there is definitely a number where it becomes mathematically impossible, but I think if the format stays this way for a while, because obviously we've had a lot of changes in our lifetime. BCS used to be a thing, then college football playoff, now a 12-team playoff. It's like if we get this for a while, I think it's going to be what conference is going to be the first conference to having, 5 teams in. And then the SEC is going to be like, oh, yeah, we're the best. We have 5 teams in. And then it's going to be like, oh, no, Big Ten actually did it first or whatever. So we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what conference gets the most in this year, though.
I agree. And I'm going to – if I had to bet, does the Big Ten or the SEC get more teams in this year, I would place that bet for the Big Ten. And my reasoning –
For sure. Me too.
Okay. My reasoning here is – the bottom half of the Big Ten is a heck of a lot weaker than the bottom half of the SEC this season. So I think that there's some built-in wins in the Big Ten that you're going to get that you don't get in the SEC. So one of the things, if he's listening, Ty, we're going to bring you on the pod sometime soon, and we're going to have a little Big Ten versus SEC talk because Ty is a SEC slappy, hates the Big Ten, and we'll have to have a good debate sometime here in the near future with Rebel at Ty, but no, all right, I like it. So kind of recapping that, Jet likes Utah. I also like Utah, so we love Utah to make the playoff this year. Jet's dark horse, he's going Wisconsin at plus 1,100. I like the Miami to get in, and then my dark horse is the awesome, electric, exciting Iowa Hawkeyes to sneak into the college football playoff this year. So, all right, Jet.
Did you pick that because Cade McNamara?
No, I'm not a Cade McNamara fan. I wasn't a Cade McNamara fan when he was a Wolverine. I'm just gonna put that out there.